another edition of the Shirlma Show. And guess who we have in the house today? No other person than Madam Glory, the CEO and founder of Anna Nabuh Foundation. Welcome to the Shirlma Show, Madam Ngwana.
Thank you. I'm honored to be here.
It's really a pleasure to have you here today.
Thank you.
You know, the first time I actually spoke with you, it felt like I'd already known you. How do you actually make it so easy for people to talk to you?
Life is easy. We shouldn't complicate it. So I go by the flow.
Oh my God. You know, you're doing some amazing stuff that I really admire. And one of them actually being the foundation that you started, the Anna Nabuh Foundation. And when I was reading more about it, I learned that you started the foundation because you learned that your mom did not go to school because she was actually a girl child. And now you actually want to change maybe that narrative for other girls. So tell me a little bit about the story.
Growing up as a kid, my environment made me ask a lot of questions. I grew up interacting with my maternal family side and my paternal family. So my uncle had a PhD. He was wealthy. He lived in the city with his family and would frequently travel abroad, while the reverse was true for my own family. I admired the life of my cousins and wish it was the same for my siblings and I. Moreover, we were treated as a second class. We looked low as a second class in the way they treated us. Now I started asking my questions. Why did mom not go to school as her elder brother? Is it because of finance? To me, it was obvious that if mom went to school and obtained a PhD as her elder brother, she would have been able to give us this life I admired. By then, little Glory, little me thought to be rich, you must have a PhD. After all, my father had a BSc and he wasn't rich, so riches came from PhD. So one afternoon, I needed to clarify this doubt. I went to my mother's room. She was lying on her bed. I remember that fateful day. I didn't mix my words. Mom, why didn't you go to school as your elder brother? And I got the reply that I least expected. She said, because I was a girl. That in that days, girls' education was not of value, so the focus was on the boys with the hope that they would take care for the rest of the family. Now, take care for the rest of the family wasn't what I was experiencing. Tears dropped my eyes as to why my mother was deprived because of her sex, and indirectly depriving me and my siblings with a life I so much admire. Anger came, bitterness came, but determination also came. Three things dropped my mind that day that has been my motivation up to today. One, Glory, you must study for yourself and your mother. Glory, you must obtain the PhD your uncle has. And Glory, you must be a game changer to this discrimination. I looked straight into the eyes of my mother and I made her a promise. I said, Mom, I am your only female child and the last of this family, but I'm going to make a difference. I'm going to study for both of us. I'm going to obtain this PhD your uncle has. And I'm going to make money and help girls in our society. The only reason I have 2 master's degrees today is because the second belongs to my mother.
Oh, how sweet.
So if you quote me somewhere, make sure to say the second master belongs to Anna Nabuh. It means a lot to me.
Oh, wow.
The second promise was to obtain a PhD, and by next year I will fulfill that promise.
Go girl.
And the last was to help girls in our society, which today is being realized through the Anna Nabuh Foundation. So that's the story.
That's really fantastic, you know. But what's the situation in Cameroon today, right?
It's true there have been some progress. In the beginning of the 20th century, new laws built a society where women and girls played important roles, and the creation of awareness program for gender equality and its importance has helped to eradicate this dilemma to a certain level, but more is yet to be done. According to the World Sex Ratio of 2021, it says 49.58% of the world's population are women, almost equal to men, yet only 24% occupies senior leadership positions. Now, could it be that women are not yet of value, or there is an education gap where we have more men qualified than women? In Cameroon, between the age of 6 to 14, only 80% of girls attend school as compared to 94% of boys. That's according to the Global Gender Gap Report of 2020. Other factors, other than the one, other than the one witnessed by my mother, contributes to this gap. So the earlier we have a solution, the better. I dream of a day where there will be no more need to fight for gender equality, no more need to fight for women's rights, no more need for International Day of the Girl Child or International Women's Day, and we will all create a day known as International Human Day to enhance capabilities.
Oh, I look forward to that day too, honestly. I really look forward to that day. You know, Madam Ngwana, as you're speaking, right, there's one thing also that comes to mind. Even the few that actually go to school, which is actually like 80% is actually, we're actually making progress, as you rightly mentioned, right? But now there's also this tendency that when a girl child actually gets pregnant, it's even difficult for them to go back to school. So what do you think is our role, maybe as friends or as family members, as colleagues, to actually get these girls back to school?
Before talking on our roles as parents or family members, permit me to speak first to the girls themselves.
Okay.
There is what I call the discouragement effect. The discouragement effect is mostly seen in the village societies where every action of an individual is considered as the local value of that society. I grew up in a village where my father was pastoring, and there was this common occurrences where girls would drop out of school because of early pregnancy. It was normal to say she has brought back her certificate. Yeah. So when girls were seen at odd times of the academic year, they were asked questions like, why are you home? Or have you brought back your certificate? This was meant to say, are you pregnant and have been driven from school? This scenario was then titled the female certificate. This alone acted as some form of discouragement for some parents to send their girl children to school. I remember the parting words of my father when I was entering secondary school. He said, Glory, if I look at the way girls in this village go to school and come back with early pregnancy, I and your mother will be discouraged to send you to school. But considering that you are our only girl child, we will love you to be educated. Please do not disappoint us by bringing early pregnancy. I left praying not to contribute to this discouragement effect. So to my girls out there, whatsoever behavior you put or the comportment you show out there can either impact your fellow one's life negatively. We are one another's keepers, so you should be very careful on the behaviors you portray in our society. Now, talking on our roles as parents, friends, and family members, we should understand that as far as we are humans, one is bound to make life mistakes. Mistakes should be treated as mistakes and not death sentence. Most of the time when these girls find themselves in situations that can pause their education, they need more of love from us rather than demonstrating disappointment or trying to correct them. For the case of pregnancy, they have 9 months to live with that situation. So we have enough time to educate them or to correct whatever we want to correct. But we should do it with love, assuring them that after this stage, you can get back to the classroom. Wow. Also, we have countries like Uganda with government policy that encourages girls who have given birth to return to school. Wow. While hoping that this becomes evident in our own society, humanitarians can lead this idea.
And you're not only speaking about it, right? Talking about humanitarians, you're actually putting this in practice because you actually have this initiative that you've created, which is Mom in School initiative. So tell me a little bit about this initiative.
Mom in School initiative is a structure we have put in place known as the network of education, where we empower the girls to optimize their potential via scholarships. Upon graduating and obtaining a job, they will in turn do so to others, thereby making the network of education a reality. Now, the word mom is coming in because of the genesis of the idea. I told my mom because of her miseducation, I was going to ensure more girls get the opportunity. So when I see these girls going to school, I see but my mother in them. So my mom is in school.
Oh, wow, so beautiful. So but now people like your mom, right, sometimes who actually missed education, let me say because maybe of their gender, right? But is there any hope for them in our days today? So maybe people who are in their 40s who didn't go to school, what can we do about that, or what can they do about it?
I think there's something we can do. Now we have 3 groups of mothers here. The first group the group where my mother belonged, they have never been to school. Here we have to accept that it is a bit difficult to bring them back to the classroom, especially in our own society. Maybe abroad it can be easier, but in our own Cameroon society it's a little bit different. But we could now use them as advocates to our idea. The second group of people are those I call dropouts and willing to go to school. Here we could help them through the adult school education and probably provide their need. The third group are those drop out but not willing. This is where the convincing power comes in. Most of the times when they are not willing, it's because of fears or certain concerns. It's our role to show them the possibilities and use other women that have been in that situation and went back to school and their life is better, just to convince them to get back to school.
Wow. More with Madam Glory after the break. If you're just joining us today on the Shirlma Show, we were honored to be in the presence of Madam Glory, the CEO and founder of Anna Nabuh Foundation. So, Madam Ngwana, there is something that I said that, you're actually just like me, right? You actually work and at the same time you have something that you're very passionate about, right? So I guess my question today will be, what are some of the things that maybe when you have a passion, you have to consider before actually even pursuing that passion, given that you actually have like a full-time job?
I think first, being an employee means you are executing the passion of another person. So you must have that consciousness, that awareness that your own passion should not negatively affect the passion of another person. That will be unfair. That will mean sacrificing your own personal time for your own passion. And to achieve this, you must be resilient, you must have the power of determination, and you must be a good time manager. I emphasize on the word good time manager.
Wow, amazing. So now, right, we have so many employees, even though they might not say, they actually have like maybe some things that they do by the side. So now as an employer, what do you think employers should do? Because even though employees don't necessarily tell them that, okay, maybe we have something else that we are doing, but sometimes they are actually doing these things, right? So what do you think should be the role of an employer in this scenario?
First, the employer should accept this fact and this truth.
Okay.
Once they accept, they could create a structure or an environment where the employees could freely, I emphasize, freely expose this passion to them. That will enable them to identify even the talents or passion they have in their organization. And they could incorporate the employees' passion to their company's extraordinary activities. Take, for example, I am a yoga coach. They could call me for special events to talk on body and mind building. That will mean incorporating my passion with the company's business activities. Now, the second, I think employers should implement a good work-life balance. That will enable the employer to have time for their work and their passion. I interacted with one company in Belgium, and the company policy says every Friday work closes at 12 noon. You could see the enthusiasm in which employees were working, looking forward to Friday to do their other activities. Like in our own case, we handle our passion. So a good work-life balance is both beneficial to the employer and the employee, because you have employees with a good mindset that boosts productivity. I also think employers should start thinking of objective-based delivery rather than time-based delivery. I worked in one company in Cameroon as an intern, and there was this common statement: with the au travail, pas with the travail. Means 8 hours at work, not 8 hours of work. And you will agree with me that we have employees that sign in at 8 a.m., move from one desk to another, one office to another, doing nothing, and at 5 p.m. they go home. So if companies could implement objective-based delivery, once I'm done at 3, p.m., I deliver at 3 p.m., I go. The day it takes me to 8 p.m., fine and good. I have another day to compensate for it.
Wow.
I think so.
Wow. Do you think it can actually work in our environment?
It can work,
Okay.
especially with these multinational companies. It can work because we have employees that actually do nothing. This is it's true. This is it's a reality. Even if we don't accept, that is the truth.
Wow. So, but what do you think, right? Some employees actually, like some mistakes. What are some of the mistakes that some employees actually make when they have passions and they're actually working for maybe another company or working for another employer?
Oh, first, I think they are unable to balance work and passion. And most of the times they focus on their passion that negatively affects their own job. So they must be able to balance work and their passion. Secondly, is lack of prioritization. As an employee having a passion, you must have a good organization skills. And the third is working alone in your passion as an employee is a big mistake. You must have a support team that helps you run your day-to-day activities. I love the way Michael Gabriel puts it in his book, The E-Smith, that you should work on your passion, not in your passion. Working in your passion means you are responsible for the day-to-day activities, which is practically impossible or difficult as an employee. But if you work on your passion, you strategize while your support system working in your passion implements.
What a beautiful way of looking at it. Now, what does Madam Ngwana does to actually be so organized and actually prioritize? What do you do?
I get organized. I identify my productive time. I've accepted to be misunderstood and misquoted. I have learned to say no, and I've limited my social activities with families and friends. They may misinterpret it now, but they will understand in future.
Wow. But it's difficult to do that. How do you get to that point where you can say no? Because I think the highest challenge that actually most entrepreneurs face is because they don't know how to say no. So sometimes they take a lot of things and at the end of the day, they're not able to deliver.
It's easy, say no. The journey is say no. It's just that we like to please. We think we can please everybody. It's practically impossible. It was difficult for me to learn how to say no, but it came a time I had to practice. I stood in front of my mirror and said, "Glory, no, no, no," till it came. So when it is above me, I said no. Simple.
Wow.
You won't misinterpret me, but in future you will understand.
Wow. So you don't only have this foundation, and you're not only an employee, right? You're not only an employee, but at the same time, you also actually have this yoga sessions that you organize, right? The one which actually interests me most was the one I saw on Instagram with you and your princess actually giving us some poses. So how do you actually do it? Tell us, why yoga in the first place?
Let me start by defining the word yoga. Yoga is derived from the Sanskrit root yog, which means to join or to unite. Yoga is a spiritual discipline that focuses on harmonizing the mind and the body. The practice of yoga evacuates stress and frees one from anxiety. It fights against diseases and improves health. In 2013, 14, and 15 were the worst years of my life. These were the years I didn't believe in myself and I doubted my existence. I don't even wish my enemies to go through what I went through. But it was these years that I was introduced to yoga by my counselor, Mr. Emmanuel Chengo. I was skeptical, but I obeyed. After seeing the benefit yoga had on me, I thought it wise to give back to my society. And that is why in the year 2020, I started a program known as Yoga with BZO, where I offer offline and online session and one-to-one session, especially for those who have some health challenges like back pain, or whatsoever challenge they may have. And this year we were opportune to champion the International Day of Yoga in the Indian Consulate of Douala and the Indian Embassy of Yaoundé.
Amazing. More with Madam Ngwana Glory after the break. just joining us today on the Shirlma Show, you've missed a lot. Please go back and start, okay, from the very beginning, because we've been in the company of Madam Glory. So, Madam Ngwana, so imagine that you're a young lady, right? You just graduated from school and you came out. Maybe kind of you were excited, thinking that it's like that as soon as you graduate, you're going to get a job, but just to discover that it wasn't, after all, that easy. What would be your advice to this young lady?
Before giving my own personal advice, permit me transfer an advice that was given to me when I found myself in that situation. One mentor told me, Glory, when the job you're looking for isn't coming, proceed in upgrading your skills, that a higher job will meet a more qualified person. But in the process, do some volunteering work. If not, the higher job will meet a qualified person who has begun to forget the skills that he or she learned. Oh, for my own personal advice, not only to the girls, but any graduate or to-be graduate, the job we think it is difficult today will be worse tomorrow with the advancement of technology. I see artificial intelligence taking most of the jobs that we think it is difficult today. So to my graduates, put on your thinking cap and create jobs for yourself, hoping the universe will bless the works of your hands.
Amazing. Thank you.
Welcome.
Please, can we have some fun questions? Well, they might be fun. I hope they are. So please, we just kind of like ask you to pick. You can read 3. Yep. And feel free to change if you're not comfortable answering any, please.
As a teenager, who was your role model and why? My uncle. Because he had a PhD and I knew to be rich, you must have a PhD. So I was looking up to him to have the PhD he had.
You see, so thank God for your uncle. So please, another one. Maybe you answer 3 if you don't mind. Yep.
What's the best customer service treat you've ever received? Amazon. The first time I had to speak to Amazon on phone, they were so loving, caring, and whenever I talk about customer service, I always think of that call.
Amazing. Last but not the least.
What could be the reason for rampant poisoning nowadays? Hatred, envy, jealousy.
Wow, that's terrible. Madam Ngwana, Madam Ngwana, it's really been a privilege having you here today, but I won't let you go without telling me, how can people actually get associated with the foundation? In what capacity can they also get associated?
You could come in as a volunteer to build a team so that you could work in the passion while I work on.
Amazing.
On the passion. And partners who think they can come in for us to strategize. Sometimes you have the idea, you have the vision, but the how to go about it sometimes becomes a little bit difficult and complicated. So partners who can come for us to strategize and see how we can do make it broader are mostly welcome.
Well, and how can they get to you?
Via our website, LinkedIn, or our social media handles, Anna Nabuh Foundation.
Thank you so much for being here with us. I've learned a lot from you. I told you, right? I was asking you some questions so I could learn. And believe me, I got it. Thank you so much for being here. It was really a blessing having you.
Thank you.
And we wish you the best in everything that you do.
Same to you.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Today on the Shirlma Show, we were honored to be in the presence of Madam Glory, CEO and founder of Anna Nabuh Foundation. Thank you for being here with us. We are here because you're there. Please do not forget to follow us on all our social media handles, be it LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, The Shirlma Show. Thank you.